Hey, what is up, everybody? We are live. Isaac here, Civil Engineering Academy. Excited that you're joining me today. We are kicking this off officially in basically 1 minute, but I wanted to jump on and just personally welcome anyone coming in, whether you're watching this live or you're watching it as a replay. So, thanks for spending some your time today with me. I know the day of this recording, we're doing this on a Saturday, so I know you've probably got better stuff to do, but hey, I'm thankful that you're here. And I apologize for my voice because, I have kids and they get you sick. So just part of life. So anyway, we're excited to share this one with you. This is going to be a good presentation on how to crush your FE and your PE exams in 2023. Obviously, we're sitting here in February, and hopefully you've got a goal to knock this thing out this year. Hopefully you've been gathering material, you've started to dive into stuff in January, but here we are in February and we're looking forward. So if you've not had the chance to really kickstart your studies or get things moving on where you're at, hopefully this will do that for as we talk about some stuff I want to mention. So today I specifically say that a lot. Specifically, I want to talk about three different things. One's called mindset, motivation, and material. So those are the things we're really going to hammer. So with that, welcome. So and we'll be active in the chat room. I'll try to bounce back and forth on this, and it'll be a good time. So let me switch to a nice presentation mode. Get my big head out of the way. And let's get after it. How to crush your FE and PE exams in 2023. Now, the principles for both the FE and PE are very similar because, in today's world, they are very similar exams. They're both computer based. You both have a handbook, and the methods to tackle them are very similar. So that's why I wanted to present these tips and kind of gear them for both exams because a lot of it is carryover. I may focus a little more on the PE, but you get the idea. All right, let's dive into it. So, nice little quote from Albert Einstein who said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world." So, I want you to imagine if if you're going to take these exams this year, I want you to imagine what it would feel like to crush these exams and really, reach the goal that you have of earning these. How would that feel? How can you imagine that? Can you imagine the weight that's lifted off of your shoulders after you get this thing done? It's a huge accomplishment. I'll be honest with you, it's one of the best feelings in the world to have these exams done and over with because once you pass, you never have to take them again. So it's a big deal. So imagine that as we go through this. So real quickly, I wanted to do a nice, I guess, a little introduction of myself. So hello there, it's Isaac here. Um, and as a quick introduction, I'll just kind of go around these pictures briefly, but I've spent a lot of my time in my engineering career as a transmission engineer. But within that, I've bounced around to quite a few different areas, including being a project manager, being a supervisor, and also leading departments within transmission. So kind of been all over the place. So there's a picture of me, with the lattice tower there. I've got kids. We actually have 4 kids. And man, I thought the exam was hard, but I tell you what, 4 kids has been a game changer. That's for sure. I graduated from the University of Utah way back in 2008 in civil engineering and later got a degree from the University of Arkansas and a master's degree. And life's busy. And you can see there, I founded Civil Engineering Academy with the goal of really helping other engineers as just a guy in the trenches to help pass that along and try to help you. I have done some humanitarian work. That's that picture down in the middle down here. That was really fun. Went to Kenya for a few weeks, helped build some schools, got to know the kids there. I am a huge advocate for that. If you ever had an interest in doing that, go check out Choice Humanitarian. Outstanding organization and definitely a need. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. Let's keep going. So as a special thing here, if you hang out to the end, I'm going to give you a special discount code to help you with your own exam goals, which is going to be nice. So, and that's going to be a discount to one of our courses or any of our courses. So, if you hang out to the end, I'll make sure I share that with you. We're pretty excited about that. So, I just want to throw that out there to help you on your goals. All right, let's talk about my own journey. So, my own journey to pass these exams was a kind of a long one. Um, Specifically for my PE exam, I went and took this exam in Arizona. In Arizona, you can take it after 2 years, and a lot of states are decoupling the exam from the experience requirement. And um, so many people don't have this problem. But when I took the exam, I had to go. I decided I was going to be aggressive. I went to go take it in Arizona, and when I did that, I got slapped in the face because I wasn't well prepared. I thought I was okay, but definitely was not prepared. So I had to repeat this exam, and I learned a couple things when I went through that experience as a repeat taker. And there's many of you out there that are repeat takers as well. So we're going to talk about how to overcome that challenge. I got a quick question here: how many days ahead of the P exam we should stop studying? Stop studying. You want to study, the last probably week, there's probably no amount of effort that's going to push the needle, but take a few days off of studying is what I would say to you. So if you're going to stop studying ahead of the exam, uh, give yourself a little breather before the real deal. That's a great question. So yeah, if you got questions that pop up, feel free to put them in the chat room. I'm happy to answer them as we go through this as well. So, type away. A good question. But if you're asking how much time I would expect you to study for the PE exam, you need to study that exam for at least 3 months, at least. I would definitely lean more towards the 4 month mark. And it really depends on how long you've been out of school. If you've been out of school forever, you want, 4 or 5 months to study. If you're still in school or you've just passed the FE exam, you probably could lean towards that 3 month mark. So hopefully that helps you. All right. Well, here's some lessons that I learned going through my own experience. First thing that happened to me is I did not take this exam seriously. The other thing is that I didn't have a great roadmap in front of me. So if you're just winging this thing, um, whether that's getting the handbook or still using the civil engineering reference manual, that's not a good place to start. I didn't practice enough problems, which was a huge mistake on my part. And my mindset, you can really make this exam more difficult than it needs to be if your mindset is not in the right place. So, those are the things that I kind of went through on my own journey to pass this thing. So, fast forwarding to today, my whole life has really changed because I've been able to pass both the FE and the PE exam. Both are springboards to becoming a professional engineer and definitely a must to do. It's going to be, um, you know, lead to a lot of great things in your life. So I want to talk about a couple of those things as we go through this. So, what are we going to cover today? We're going to talk about three main things. One's called mindset. We're going to talk about material, and we're going to talk about motivation. Got another question here. What should be the strategy during the PE exam since the breadth is 70 to 80% conceptual now with the CBT? Yeah, a lot of people are concerned about the exam because there's a lot of theory questions on the exam these days. You're probably going to be seeing, 10 to 15 questions in the morning, same in the afternoon. How do you tackle those type of questions? And my answer to that is simply as you practice problems that you're trying to solve, there are key concepts as you practice those problems that those theory problems are based off of. And so, simply as you study the problems, make sure that you completely understand what they're asking and why they're asking it. And if a variable changed, how would it affect the problem? Um, those are things that I would say that you should look for as you're studying because theory is a huge deal on the exam these days. People are always blown away about how much theory there are. I haven't heard it so high as 70 to 80%, but that's pretty high. David's saying, I've been out of school since 2011. I'm studying for the FE and the PE. I am having a hard time remembering various or all parts. How do I build that confidence? That's a great question. Confidence comes with practice, and it's gonna suck for a little while. I can promise you that. It's gonna suck for a little bit, David. But that's just the nature of the game. But what also happens is as you start getting in the groove of practicing problems and then understanding the problems, your confidence will grow, especially as you start taking practice exams and things start clicking again for you. And I hate to say this, but you might actually enjoy studying. Um, when the concepts start coming again, you might actually enjoy it. So just keep that in mind. And then also, I highly recommend getting a course at some level because it's going to provide you support when you need it. Definitely recommend that as well. So let's dive back into this. What we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about our mindset, we're going to talk about material, and we're going to talk about motivation. So, what I'm talking about with mindset is that you need to start this journey with the right mindset that you believe that you can do this. So, oh, David, yes, thanks for buying mine. Awesome. Yeah, we're going to get you passed, buddy. Um, we're going to talk about that too. But anyway, mindset. So you got to have the right attitude when you start this exam, believing that you can do this and making sure you put in the work to actually do it is going to be a huge part of the exam. If you don't believe that you can do this, or you've repeated the exam so many times, let's say you hate the NCEES, like you just want to slap that organization because you've taken this exam 5 times and you just think they're out to get you. If you're thinking that way, then you're probably not gonna pass it. So we got to have the right mindset in order to get this thing over with, whether it's the FE or the PE exam. The other thing we want to talk about is material. So I want to definitely share what the must-haves are with you to help you crush your exam goals. And obviously, we know that practice makes perfect, but there's so much out there. How do you really sort it all? So we're going to talk about the must-haves, and I can mention a lot of other stuff too that will help you on that journey. If you do have to repeat the exam, it's very helpful to know what else is out there. So, and the last thing I want to talk about is motivation. So I'm going to talk about some motivation to help you get started off on the right foot. And learning from others' journeys is part of believing that you can do this. So, and then again, I'll also share a nice little deal for you. Let's go to some questions here. I heard conceptual questions are like either you know it or not. That is true. Like concepts are actually built during our school, and there's hardly any way to learn them these days with study courses. Yeah, I mean, they're a challenge, right? They want you to use engineering judgment to select the best answer. And so you're going to read a question and you're going to second guess yourself all the time because there's going to be probably two answers that are very close to each other and very similar. But you're going to use your best engineering judgment. And when you do that, through practice, through exams, and through the material that you have at your disposal, the more you see this stuff, the easier and easier that will become to make a good decision. So it is a big deal on the exam. It's not the only deal on the exam, but it is a big deal. Another question. Already so much to learn from the PPI or school PE or EET or yeah, there's a lot. There is a lot there. So, select one and go with it, and run with it. Don't spread yourself thin and go after everything. Focus on something, one thing, and get after it. So, anyway, that's our agenda today. Let's go through it real quick. All right, let's talk about this first problem. Students taking their exams are overwhelmed by the effort required. I'm already sensing that in some of our comments. And then repeat takers are disappointed and they're often crushed. Um, you know, I was a repeat taker and I know the feeling. I've been there. So here are the three different people and the mindsets that they typically have. If you're a first timer, you come in knowing that these exams are difficult. If you put in the time and the effort, what I mean by that is treating this straight up like a part-time job. You're putting in 2-3 hours during the week and more on the weekend. You have to get your family on board of this massive goal, friends on board. Make sure, you know, you're not doing stuff out at night because you know what you need to do, right? You got to get studying. So, get everybody on board of this major goal in your life and make sure they're supporting you. And the other thing is, if you're a first time taker, you got to take a few real practice exams. And what I mean by this is setting up a timer. I'm not saying that you need to sit there for 6 hours for the FE or 8 hours for the PE, but maybe half that time or maybe 2 hours and correlate that with how many problems you should be knocking out. But you need to time yourself and see if you can get through that many. And then keep doing that until you've gotten through the whole exam. But really put the pressure on yourself early um, in a lifelike scenario, because that's going to be the best environment for you to learn time management and a lot of other skills that come from just taking practice exams. So that's the benefit of doing it. Definitely get support, get practice problems, and your best chance of passing your exams is the first time. If you go look at the NCEES pass rates, first time takers are always the highest takers. I actually did an interview on our podcast. You can go check it out at civilengineeringacademy.com. I interviewed the director over there, Tim Miller, and I asked him, why are the first time takers always, why is your first time the highest with your pass rates? And why does it drop off so much? And his answer was pretty clear. I mean, it was pretty easy. Is basically that those that pass the exam the first time tend to be just better student, like they're just better at taking this material, right? Like if you're a repeat taker, there's something that we need to do to fix, or we need to pick up our knowledge in an area. So, I mean, it wasn't um, anything special. So, what I took away from that is that don't get your head down if you have to repeat this exam, and just look at what maybe you missed and what you need to fix, and let's fix it. So that leads to repeat takers. Let's talk about that. So if you're a repeat taker, definitely don't get discouraged. Keep that head up. You want to go take kickboxing after you get a fail, that's fine. Go. You got to give yourself a mental reset. If and you can liken this to any sports analogy, really, and exam taking can be very similar to that, but you need a mental reset. So, I don't care how you do that, but you got to have a mental reset. And then you need to overcome what I call all the what ifs that you tell yourself. And a lot of people do this even when you're taking the exam. What if I fail? What if I miss this problem? What if? There's a million what ifs that you can think of. And instead, you need to maybe flip that on its head and really give yourself a pep talk to pass this exam. Instead of what ifs, tell yourself that you can do this. You are going to do this. So hopefully that makes sense. But a lot of this is a mental game, mental challenge. Okay. Other things I listed here: figure out the problem and fix it. So time management is an issue. Whether you know you're looking at your results and you're thinking about the reason why you failed. Time management is always one. Another one is subject matter. Maybe you crushed the depth exam because you knew it so well and you stunk at the morning stuff. That happens all the time, or vice versa. Or maybe there's just one particular area that you just sucked at a lot and you need to fix that. Theory is also a big one. So that's a big comment that's coming in. So, understanding those theory questions, and like I said, to help you understand the theory, it's helpful as you go through problems, try to figure out, if variables change, what that does to the answer. Um, even the handbook is not going to teach you theory, and this is why I still think the CERM can be very helpful for you if you're studying the PE exam. It's because it'll have concepts in there that you'll need to know still, right? The handbook does not have that. Let's go to some of your stuff here. I heard conceptual questions are a lot like either you know it or not. Yeah, we talked about that. Already so much to learn. Yes, there's a ton of material. I reckon the NCES is still trying to figure out CBT, as my friend who had this exam in April 2022, and he doesn't even know all of his reference manuals. Wish I had taken the exam early 2022. Yeah. You need to know your reference manuals. You need to know your codes, right? You got to have those on hand and study from them as well. There is a lot of material, but you just take it one day at a time. One day at a time. Lastly, let's see. As I talk about repeaters, you still need to take practice exams. Don't get off the bandwagon of thinking I've taken this so many times that I already know all the subjects. Right? There's a reason why you're not passing this exam, and don't think that because you saw a retaining wall problem, you don't need to solve it again. I would still go through the practice of doing those. Still take a timed exam. Still go through those motions. Okay. And do not be discouraged by pass rates again for repeat takers. Lastly, is the out of school foreverers, which we've talked about here already a little bit. You need to know that you definitely can do this. Take your time and relearn the material as needed. There was a member of our own courses that had taken the exam 8 times and was in his 60s. Okay, so you can definitely do this. And then it does take some investment, but you need to invest in the tools needed to take this exam and give it your all the first time. So don't be afraid of doing that because it's going to help you. All right. So the goal here is for this particular section is you got to commit to your exam and don't procrastinate. So commit, like I said, 3 to 4 months of study 2 hours a day and more on the weekend. Treat this thing like a part-time job. Take it serious. Don't get slapped in the face like I did, because it hurts your pocketbook, hurts it just hurts you overall, right? So we don't want to do that. So, just to wrap up the mindset, it doesn't matter if you are taking this exam the first time or you're a repeat taker or you've been out of school forever. Believe in yourself, know that you can do this, and commit to putting in the time to do this. Okay. Um, so let's talk about the next problem. The next problem is that there's so much material out there. Where do I even get started on this thing? So I'm going to talk to you about obviously the must-have resources that you need to ace these exams. Obviously, you need your handbook, right? So it's free with your NCEES account. You can just go download that, and that's for the FE or the PE. You need your codes and standards. So don't think that you can get away with not having those anymore. Back in the day when I took my exam, I took my depth in geotech, and there was, I think, only one standard at the time for that one. But in today's exams, there's multiple. Even water resources has codes and standards. And so you need to get those. A lot of times you can borrow those from workers because if you start adding up the cost of all of that, it's going to be a lot of money if you went out and bought these things on your own. So I would recommend, doing anything you can to get those. Search the internet for them. Plenty of places to get codes and standards from. A place I like to go to is Scribed. Go check that out. See if there's something there for you. But see if you can find them. They're out there. And then beg your coworkers to let you borrow them or something like that. And oftentimes your workplace will even buy these things, right? So explore that. Practice exams are a must. And I'm not listing like whose practice exams or what practice exams. We obviously have our own at Civil Engineering Academy, but you need to get practice exams in breadth and depth, or for your FE, that too. Okay. And then lastly, obviously you need practice problems. So that's really it. That's the must-haves. Handbook, codes and standards, practice exams, practice problems. Those are your must-haves. If you're finding that you need extra help, then we're going to talk about this other stuff. These are nice to haves. They're not necessary, but they're going to help maybe move that needle for you. And you can always find more resources. We list them at civilengineeringacademy.com/resources, and these will help you out. But let me go to the questions real quick. Let's see. Aberboy11. Let me post some of these here. Show. How do we prepare for it now that it's CBT and we can't take references? Do I need to memorize where things are? You don't necessarily need to memorize where everything is, but some of the most common stuff that creeps up, and you'll notice that as you do practice problems, are equations that you're probably going to have memorized, or conversions. You're probably going to have the most common conversions memorized. That's just the nature of what happens as you do problems over and over. But the handbook isn't going to leave you hanging either. So if you need help, you can go find those things. Obviously, the search function, Control F, is your biggest friend. Uh, it'll help you to search for specific terms, and that's how you're going to go about it. So don't think that you need to memorize everything. From those that have taken the exam, they typically will stick to what's in the handbook. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, they're going to ask me anything and everything, and I have to know everything about it, the whole world. That's just not true. So they'll stick to what's in there. So become very familiar with the handbook. Very familiar with the handbook. Go through it. Look at it. Make sure you understand where things are, how the sections are broken out, where graphs and figures are, where your conversion factors are, things, anything and everything. You'll get practice as you do it. Don't feel like you need to memorize everything, though. You'll naturally you'll naturally memorize some stuff that just comes automatically. Okay. Mindset during the exam. I reckon the NCES will throw hard AF conceptual questions, 15 to 20 cues to shatter your confidence level so we can play catch up during the whole exam. Uh, yeah. I'm not going to say they won't be challenging, but many people pass this exam, so don't feel like you can't do it. And look, conceptual questions are kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like if you can go through those, they're a really quick question to get right. If you're struggling with it though, maybe it takes you longer to think about it. But if you do know them, you can move through them quickly, giving yourself more time for the rest of the exam to solve problems. So, um, I remember when I took it, we also, there was still a lot of theory questions back then. Really hasn't changed too much, 12 to 15 theory questions in the morning, same in the afternoon. You think we should go from question 41st to backwards? No, I don't. I think you should take the exam as it comes to you, or just start in the middle, question 25, to keep your confidence level. What's the ideal time to finish the breadth section? 2 hours, 3 hours, or should it be half and half? I would say it's close to half and half. I'm not gonna say it'd probably be different for everybody, um, but it's probably close to half and half. Now, if you're taking the PE exam, that's a full 8-hour exam. If it's the FE exam, uh, you know, you're sitting around 6. So, but typically, they're going to give you a break somewhere in the middle, and so it's kind of typically split up just like that, give or take. Good questions. Good questions. Okay, let's get back to resources. So these are nice to have. The first one is School of PEs. If you go to civilengineeringacademy.com/SOPE, you can go check these out. I've done reviews on these books. You can check out also on our YouTube channel. But they recently came out with some great guidebooks. And initially, they had only breadth books, and they recently released depth books too. What's nice about them, in my opinion, is that they cover exactly what's on the specifications. So you're not left guessing, other subjects that are thrown in there. So I think they are a great book to have because they're going to cover concepts that are right from the spec. The other one's the CERM, which they now call the PE Civil Reference Manual from PPI. You can check that out at civilengineeringacademy.com/PPI. People ask, is that still relevant? Do you even need it anymore? And the truth is you may not need it. But if you're struggling to learn concepts, if you feel like the handbook is not enough to teach you the material, then you need something else. So whether that's the school PE book or the CERM, it's still a good manual to have, and probably something good to have at work too. And then associated with that handbook or the CERM is their practice problem book. And even in our courses, we recommend homework out of those problems. A lot of people say they're a lot harder than the real exam, and that's true. But one of the parts that they may have in those problems, like part A, could be what is similar on the exam. So anyway, I still think it's a great resource. The other ones that you'll find are Dr. Goswami's books. I've always been a fan of his. You'll find those on Amazon. He's got a reference manual that is for your breadth and your depth. And he also has some practice exams that kind of are a companion together. So I still think those are pretty good. And then lastly are just practice exams. And I've shown one here, but you can definitely check out more at our resources page at civilengineeringacademy.com/resources. So there you go. Let's dive into uh, other resources. So what about courses? People always ask this. Well, what should I do for a course? So why do we recommend courses? We definitely think they're a good help for you. Why? Because they provide accountability. A lot of people need some hand holding, right? All of us as humans, we procrastinate on stuff until the last second. So they provide accountability. They provide problems for us to study. They can provide exams, and they also can provide support. Definitely, though some are better than others at that. Sometimes you're just kind of left to yourself to figure things out. So, those are things that you should be looking into when you're considering a course to help you out. But a course is definitely something we recommend. And then what should your course come with? These are some questions you may ask yourself as you're researching courses, but do they have accessibility that you can take this stuff anywhere? Is it an easy structure to follow? Is it up to date with the material? Do they have a study schedule to follow or homework that you can follow? And then is the support tailored to your needs as well? Questions on that. Let me go through this. What should we do in the 50-minute halftime break? Just relax in the vehicle, eat your vegetables, or walk outside to catch some air. Call your wife. Start winning winning, whining. Uh, yeah, Yusman, you are on top of it, man. Yeah, your 50-minute break, you're just gonna decompress, right? Go walk, go eat something, go take a break. What you're giving yourself is a mental reset with your mind. Um, that's all you're doing with that. I definitely recommend taking it. Don't power through the exam. Take the break. Take a minute to call your wife or whatever you want to do. But definitely recommend doing that. David Foster, let's post that one. What are your thoughts between on-demand courses and live? So, my thoughts. I am a huge fan of on-demand. Live, live is also good, right? You can ask questions with an instructor that's there readily available, hopefully to answer those questions. Um, I've just seen that participation sometimes can vary between the two. With on demand, you can get a history of everyone's questions in the past, so you get kind of that data bank of stuff. And maybe it depends on the course, but we keep people's comments there in our own courses so people can find those, and especially in our support groups. But when you're live, the only downside to live instruction, and I don't know if you're saying you're sitting at a computer watching it live or if you actually have to go to a place, because they have done both where you have a live instructor that you actually go to. um I don't know, in today's world, actually having to go somewhere is challenging depending on where you're at with your life, right? If you're working full time, if you have family, those challenges creep up. I'm just a fan of on demand, and that's my opinion. I think you can still get your questions answered in a timely manner. You can take it at your own pace, at your own schedule. I just like how that rolls. Another question: when we first see a question and we are iffy, let's show this one. When we first see a question and we are iffy, we might know it or maybe not. Should we do it or flag it? I'd probably flag that one. Come back to it. Go through the exam. answering all the ones that you feel comfortable answering. Go through the exam again, going through those ones you think you were iffy on. And the third time you go through that exam, you're going to go hit the problems you had absolutely no clue on, and you flagged and you just had no clue what's going on. So you kind of do like a 3 pass, right? So the first time you go through, blow through all the ones that you know really well. Second time you go through, go back and answer the ones you were iffy on. Third time you go through and try to see if you can answer any ones that you were just totally off on. Another question. How early do we have to register for the exam? There's quite a few requirements to actually get up to speed on registering for the exam, making sure that you have, graduated. If you're taking the FE, making sure you've met the requirements for that. I don't know how early you have to register for the exam in terms of, can I register right now and take it in a month? I imagine you can, but it's based on exam availability in your area because you're taking it at a Pearson View testing center. So um, the schedule might not work well with you. You have to find a time that works, that's put out well ahead. So plan ahead. You need to register for this exam. I would say 4 to 5 months ahead of time for the PE exam, and similar to the FE as well. So hopefully that helped you. All right, let's get back to it. So your course, we already talked about the courses, blah blah blah. All right, let's get on. The goal here is to gather your resources early, get your handbook going, make sure you've downloaded that, go find your practice exams, go find practice problems, and start finding your codes and standards, making sure you have those all at your disposal. Don't think that you can't get away. You're going to get away with not having them. You need them. And then consider a course. Definitely highly recommend doing that. Got to get the course. All right. So let's talk about the last thing, the problem. How can you mentally stay motivated during this challenging exam? First thing I want to point out is finding your why. So, as you pass your PE exam, um, there's a lot of things that come with that. One of them is that you're going to have more income. You'll have, I put in here, more prestige. Uh, you know, Stop being labeled as that guy at the office that doesn't have his PE license or whatever it is. And also, you'll be able to stamp drawings, putting your stamp on something, sealing it, making sure that it passes your engineering sign of approval. And those are all awesome things, And then satisfaction. There's a sense of pride in knowing that you passed this exam, and will be the springboard to launch your career into areas you probably never considered. So people want that PE, and whether your work, the value of companies is typically it's their employees. So for you to get your PE license is a big deal. Anyway, those are things that come with earning your PE license. So the problem, which we already hit. Let's keep moving forward. So the other thing I want to talk about is to stop sabotaging yourself. So if you think about athletes, every athlete experiences rough spots or slumps, which can cause periods of underperformance. So many times these athletes, they get in trouble when they focus on their most recent disappointing results, and similar to those that recently took their exams that failed. But if you think about it, many athletes that fall into this trap of being mentally, what we call nearsighted, they are really consumed by the bad news, right? Your low level of play, your recent failure, and they expect this lack of production or effectiveness to continue in the future. So if you can imagine, like a baseball player who has struck out 3 times in, say, their last game, they may expect to strike out several times in the next game. Or a soccer player that's performed poorly in the first half of a game, they can also expect to make more mistakes in the second half. So the problem with negative expectations, that is a big problem. So if you expect negative results, um, nothing's going to change. Okay. So if you're in that mindset, we got to get out of it. Um, so you need to have a mental reset. It's no different than resetting your cell phone to improve its performance. Um, we've all had cell phones that freeze on us, and you need to have a reset. Same thing with this exam. You need to have a mental reset, and that could just be, getting a course that's going to help you get over the hump. So, um, you got to clear that headspace, and also eliminate those destructive thoughts. That's bad stuff. So take a time out, figure that out, and you'll get there. So, you're asking a million what if questions, you're failing multiple times, you're hating on the NCES because you just hate them, or you're not positive or confident in going to your exam. So, those are challenges that people have. And people that I work with all the time through Civil Engineering Academy, a lot of times people are finding us because they have repeated the exam multiple times and they're just ready to give up. So it's nice that, when people have found us, whether it's your first or your fifth time, we're able to help instill that confidence again and give you some support. Okay. So the goal here today is to stay mentally strong. So be positive, give yourself a mental reset if you need to, and keep moving forward. Don't get off the bus. Okay. Don't get off the bus. All right, so let's talk about this real quick. Here are next steps. If you are interested, we have an awesome people that are taking the FE. Go check us out, civilFEreviewcourse.com. If you're taking the PE, we have civilPEreviewcourse.com. This is the discount code that I wanted to share with you because we our passion is to help you become a professional engineer. That's what we do, and we want you to get there. So if you use this discount code, you'll get a discount, 10% discount on any course that we offer. It's the code is Pass My Exam 23, and that'll last till the end of the month. So definitely check that out. And I'll have another link here to remind you. So why CEA? So for FE or PE takers, we have definitely built these courses for you, and they do come with lots of extra goodies. So the stuff that we include as part of our courses, it is all on demand, and I talked about that earlier of why I think on demand is a good thing for you because you're a busy person. But you need lecture modules that are relevant to the specification. For our PE exam or FE exam takers, we offer up to a year of access. We have tons of video practice problems, and we have a lot on our YouTube channel, but we have even more on our courses. So definitely check those out. And that comes with the course. We offer a lot of support through our private community, also through email. You'll get access to our team and me. We'll get your questions answered quickly. Homework planner provide you an ability to plan out your homework and plan out your study schedule because that's a big deal on really mapping out how you're going to crush your exam. You need practice exams. We offer also a simulator for a full-blown CBT exam simulator, which is pretty sweet. You'll have everything like the real deal, all your standards and codes on the left and the exam on the right, the ability to flag problems, alternative IDA type questions, all that fun stuff is in there. Theory problems in our course, we actually have some bonus theory problems because I know it is a huge deal on the exam. I came up with a nice exam that just gives you 20 theory problems so it can get you thinking about it and what they're going to throw at you. We also do live problem solving workshops. A lot of those we share with the world. And then when we do pull them down, we go put them in our courses for you to have access at any time. So those are fun to do. And a lot more as well. A lot of fun downloads to help people. So anyway, that's CEA. That's what we were providing. I just want to thank you guys for coming out here and doing this with me. If you have any further questions, make sure you can email me at any time, Isaac at civilengineeringacademy.com. And yeah, if you are considering a course, definitely check us out, and we would love to support you on your journey to become a PE. So if you guys have any further questions, we had great participation here. If you have any questions about the FE or PE exam, definitely here to hang out with you for another minute or two. But you know what? Um, it's Saturday, and I know this is probably not the place you want to be, but I like doing these. I'm motivated to help you, and I want to do more of them in the future. So anyway, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks for being here, everybody. Appreciate it. Like I said, if you have any other questions, feel free to email me. We're around, ready to help you any step of the way. So, thank you, Michael. Thank you, Usman, for showing up. You got some good stuff there. GP, thank you for coming. And everyone else, Aberboy11, thanks for being here, buddy. Philip, good to see you. I love it. Okay. Well, have a good weekend, everybody. And who you rooting for the Super Bowl? That's my big question to end on. Hope you're not studying. All right, we'll wrap it up. See you guys.